Hello and welcome to a Drew Rants video. Today, I'm sorry about my voice. Today we're going to be talking about Max Verstappen's attempt at trying to get the World Championship in 2025. I had an epiphany about a week ago and I saw a clip and I'm going to show you this clip. It's Max Verstappen talking to Lando Norris and him telling Lando that he thinks he'll win a World Championship one day.
We've had a lot of moments together, also off track, and of course these things we discussed already. I told him your time will come one day. You have to be patient. Even at McLaren when it was not going that well, I said I know that you are capable of winning titles. We have I think a lot of respect for each other, and of course very nice that he just came back into the pen and congratulated me, and I think that's how it should be.
Now, Drew, why is this concerning? Well, we saw something very interesting in the last race of the season. The championship was separated by a very, very small window. In Abu Dhabi, if Lando would have gotten fourth, then Max Verstappen would have won. That was the separator. It was 2 points. Leclerc was supposed to pass Lando in order for Max to be able to win. Max had a clear shot. He was in first, and he was actually so much in first. Okay, so much in first. I think it was by 20 plus seconds. He had a pit stop window that he, in theory, could have taken a pit stop, been on soft tires in front of Piastri, who was in second, but he didn't do it. He didn't try it. Why? Today, we're going to answer the question of why Max Verstappen decided not to roll the dice and how he let Lando win the championship. So let's begin. First off, Lando and Max are best friends. Max has said that Lando is his best friend on the F1 grid.
It's a terrible relationship. Yeah, we don't get on anymore. It's taken its toll.
That means he feels for Lando. He likes Lando. And one thing we know about Max Verstappen is that once he got his fourth championship and his third championship, he kind of realized, hey, there's more to life than this. And that's what he's been saying in the news all the time. There's more to life than just F1 and racing and getting 7 or 8 world championships. He says that. So when you're fighting for a championship, but you really don't have any stakes anymore, you want to win, but it doesn't really matter to you. It doesn't affect you the same way that it would have when you were hungry to win your first or hungry to repeat or hungry to get your third. Max won 4 in a row and he was going for 5, but how much does it really matter to him? I don't think it matters that much. If you listen to him talk before the race, he said that his family wasn't even at that race. No one expected to be at that race to watch Max potentially win a 5th championship. Max didn't invite anybody and everybody had already made their plans. His dad was somewhere else. I think he was in Africa racing. If you think about it logistically, Max Verstappen didn't have enough on the table for him to not consider letting someone else take a championship. That leads me to their friendship and his friendship with Lando, where if you listen to the radio message, Max is way out in front in Abu Dhabi. He's checking, he's watching Lando. He's watching. He knows where he needs to be in order to win the championship. And Charles isn't catching him.
Is Charles catching him or not?
Right? So Lando's in third, Oscar's in second. Now, this brings me to my next point, which is Piastri. He was also in title contention. The difference is that Oscar needed a couple things to happen and fall in his favor. Oscar needed to be in front of Max, and he needed Lando to be in 4th or 5th. And in order to do that, Oscar was in second. Oscar would need a lot to go in his favor. So what he would have needed is for Max to help him back up the pack and have Lando move down, because Lando was the real threat. They're both going against Lando, and then they have to race against each other. So McLaren did a really good job with covering their bases here, because if they put Oscar on hards towards the end of the stint, which allowed him to have a separate strategy, which prevented Max's team, allegedly, from pitting. I really don't think that this was a political decision or a political call. I think they were asking Max for sure what he wanted to do. And I think going into that race, I think they had planned this out, and they said that they would probably just bank on something happening in the backfield if Max got first. The problem with this is that after the race was over, After Lando had won the championship, everything had been sealed. Piastri kind of went up to Max and goes, "Hey, you didn't want to back up the pack?"
Didn't want to back everyone up. Yeah, I mean, when I heard the top 16 was still in the pit window, I was like,
From my perspective, when you're watching this race and you see that Max has a free pit stop, you say, why don't you take this pit stop? If you're going to want to win, if you really want to win, why don't you take this pit stop and force the teams to go backwards? You're on soft tires. You've got less than 20 laps to go on soft tires. You can go 100%, very little tire deg. You'll be able to make it to the end of the race, no problem. Oscar's got to do the same thing. I mean, he's going to try to get past you, but he's also going to have to hold Lando back as well. And if he sees you backing up, he's going to do the same thing because he wants Charles to get past Lando as well. So that's the key question. And this is going in my mind, right? I'm like, well, that's weird because Oscar says that he would be willing to stop and hold up the pack because he needs it just as much as Max does in order to win the championship. So the real question is, why doesn't he take the pit stop? There's a couple reasons. I'll give you the reason that they said. They said it's because they wanted to rely on, maybe a crash or a safety car or something like that to happen to condense the pack back up and then allow for something miraculous to happen, right? You're praying on a miracle. I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen miracles happen. For example, Lewis Hamilton's 2008 championship.
And is that Glock? Is that Glock going slowly?
It is, it's Glock! Oh my goodness me!
He ends up passing Glock on the very last lap of the race with like the last turn. And then he ends up in 5th. So Massa doesn't win the championship. Hamilton gets it. I mean, this close, right? Kind of the same margin for error here, though. If you can control the outcome of the race, then why don't you? So that's where I think the friendship component comes in. I think that Max knowingly and willingly said, it's in Lando's hands now. I think that he thought in his head, I told Lando he would win. In his heart, he is a great person. I don't know if you know this. You might think he's a bitch, or you might hate him. You might think he's an asshole because he doesn't like talking to media. Whatever. He is a nice person. He is a good person. So the point of this is to say that I think in his heart of hearts, he thought it's not going to do me any better to win another championship. And if Lando wins it, that's okay with me and I can live with that. And I think that little thought creeps into a driver's mind, and it crept into Max's mind and allowed for Lando to be able to win this championship without Max rolling the dice, without him stopping, taking the pit stop, backing up the cars, going on the softs, beating Piastri, even if the hards were faster. I do not believe that Max would not have been able to hold off Piastri on soft tires for the remainder of the race. It's just I don't think that's a viable excuse for not taking this pit stop. And we know that Max and Lando are really good friends. We know that. We've seen them be friends. We've seen them interact together. We've seen them talk. Let's use an analogy. If you are really, really good at a sport, let's say basketball, for example, and you're going one-on-one against one of your buddies, if you know that you can beat him every single time that you play him, at some point you're going to say, well, I really like this guy, I like playing with him, and maybe I won't try as hard, or if he can hit the clutch shot at the end of the game to hit a 3, then he wins. And you set it up for him, and if he converts, then he converts, and then he's really happy and you're really happy too. And even if he talks all that mess afterwards, it doesn't matter to you because you know that you could have beat him, but you let him hit the clutch shot and he converted. And that's good enough, because as a friend, sometimes letting other people win is part of being a friend. If Max had to choose any person, anyone in the room out of all the F1 drivers to win a championship, he would pick Lando. And I think he did. I think he let it happen. Because there's a world where Oscar Piastri just wins this championship because Max decides to take this pit stop. There's a world where that happens. There's also a world where Max wins because a crash happens and somehow, some way, Charles Leclerc passes him, or Lando spins out and it doesn't convert at the end of the season. I think Max played his cards the right way. I think Max laid it out and said, if something happens that's out of my control, then I'll win. But if Lando wins within his control, I'll be happy with that too. I think that's exactly what he did. 100%. And I think Max let Lando win this championship. Now, a lot of people are going to say this is cope, right? This is cope. It's not cope. I'm not even coping with like the argument that it could have happened. I'm not saying that Lando wouldn't have won the championship if Max would have taken this pit stop. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I believe that Max in his heart of hearts wanted Lando to win just enough to allow Lando to win, as opposed to racing to the end and really trying to get that 5th championship. I think there was that small ounce of him that felt love and compassion for Lando that allowed Lando to win the championship without as many struggles, or without the last little bit of struggle that might have happened had Max chosen a different path. That's what I'm saying. I think not taking the pit stop showed a little bit more than what you'd expect. So that is my theory. That is exactly what I think happened, and I will stand on this till the day I die. There is no way that Max Verstappen did not let Lando win the championship. I think it is almost a certainty that it happened. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to comment and tell me if you think there is something else that allowed Lando to win the championship. And if you think that I'm wrong, I will die on this hill. So, have a great rest of your week. I'm sorry for uploading a little late, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.